It's been over 40 years since Natalie Wood was found dead after disappearing from a yacht off the coast of California. Her passing was ruled an accident, but questions have continued to linger. Let's take a look back at the star's life, death, and all the unanswered questions surrounding the case. In 1938, Natalia Nikoleva was born in San Francisco, California. Her acting career began when she was 10 years old, appearing in a department store commercial. By age 12, she had landed her first film role playing Susan Walker in the 1951 remake of the Christmas classic Miracle on 34th Street. The performance earned her a Golden Globe nomination, making her the youngest nominee in history. And she went on to become one of Hollywood's most famous faces. Natalie married 4 times. Her first marriage was to producer Richard Gregson, but the pair divorced in 1962. A year later, she married R&B singer and songwriter Ike Turner. The couple collaborated on the song These Boots Are Made for Walking, which became a #1 hit for Nancy Sinatra. The pair split up in late 1964. Then, in 1969, Natalie married the Graduate and Midnight Cowboy actor Dustin Hoffman. They had 1 daughter that ultimately ended up divorcing in 1970. On July 27, 1972, Natalie married her longtime friend and co-star Robert Wagner. They had 1 daughter together and seemed to have a solid and lasting relationship. Robert had been married twice before Natalie. First to actress Marian Elizabeth McDougall, and then to actress Jill St. John. In the early 70s, Natalie enjoyed success starring in several television movies and miniseries, including The Christmas That Almost Wasn't and From Here to Eternity. By the late 70s, she had slowed down her film career to focus primarily on her family. However, she did appear in the 1978 film The Last Tycoon, directed by Elia Kazan. It was her final completed film. Her last film, Brainstorm, which also starred Cliff Robertson, Christopher Walken, and Louise Fletcher, was released posthumously in 1983. Now let's talk about her death. On November 28, 1981, Natalie celebrated Thanksgiving with her husband Robert, his friend Christopher Walken, and the captain of their yacht, Dennis David. As the celebration continued into the evening, tensions reportedly rose. According to published accounts of the events that night, Wagner and Wood had gotten into a heated argument and she stormed off, upset. She left him and the 2 men sitting on the deck of the boat while they continued drinking. According to the official report, Natalie went below deck and changed into a nightgown. She returned to the deck and leaned on the railing. She had no life jacket on. Captain David claimed that Natalie appeared to have fallen asleep. Around 1 a.m., he noted that she was missing. The last anyone saw of Natalie was when she stood at the front of the boat with her hands on the railing. When the group realized she was gone, they called out to her. But instead of responding, Natalie slipped into the darkness. An extensive search was carried out, but there was no sign of Natalie. When the sky started to lighten and the sun came up, her body was discovered by a search plane floating in the water near Catalina Island. She had been reported missing hours earlier, but somehow no one noticed her during the night-long search. She was rushed to a local hospital where she was pronounced dead. An autopsy was performed, and it revealed that Natalie had superficial bruises on both wrists, the bridge of her nose, her upper lip, and above her left eye. Her cause of death was listed as accidental drowning. The authorities said there were no signs of trauma that could explain how the bruises had been sustained, so they theorized that she must have fallen into the water and hit her head. Since the depth of the water where Natalie was found was only about 6 feet deep, the authorities did not think that hitting her head would have killed her. However, she was wearing a heavy suede jacket, which would have dragged her under the surface and kept her head underwater. This could explain why she drowned, but it doesn't explain the bruises on her body. At first, the police were not suspicious of foul play and treated the case as an accidental death. However, Captain David would later claim that there had been an argument between Natalie and Wagner. He also stated that Wagner told him, "It's me against the world," shortly after Natalie disappeared. David claimed that Wagner had asked him to keep quiet about the argument, implying that he should cover up what had happened. He refused to lie for Wagner, and the following day, Natalie's body was recovered. On March 7, 1982, the district attorney announced that there was insufficient evidence to file criminal charges. For nearly 3 decades, the case remained closed. In June of 2008, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened the investigation into Natalie Wood's death after revelations from the yacht's captain. In an interview with People magazine, David recounted the events of that night, claiming that Natalie and Robert had been arguing before she disappeared. He said the pair got into a fight so loud that it woke him up from a nap. He claims he went on deck to find the two yelling at each other, and Natalie had stormed off before he fell back asleep. He insists that when he awoke again, Natalie was nowhere to be found. He recalled shouting for her and shaking Robert awake before searching the boat and realizing she was gone. He claims that Robert looked out into the darkness and said, "Oh God, where is she?" David insisted that the accident was not Natalie's fault. She was a good swimmer. She wouldn't have gone off that boat. She was afraid of the water. She was terrified of the dark. According to the captain, the couple had argued throughout the evening about Wagner's friendship with Walken. Reportedly, Natalie was jealous and felt he was spending too much time with his friend. At some point during the evening, Natalie left the deck and went below to change into a nightgown. She returned to the deck and leaned on the railing, but she was nowhere to be seen when David awoke for the second time around midnight. He claims he searched for her and then woke Wagner up, and the two began calling out for her. When they still couldn't find her, they turned on the boat's searchlight and spotted her floating in the water. David called out to her and shouted for her to grab onto the ladder. He said that Natalie was drifting away from the boat, and it took them 15 minutes to pull her out of the water. David's account of the events that night differed vastly from the official story. Many who knew Natalie were skeptical that she would have willingly gone to the edge of the boat in the dark, and they questioned why she was not wearing a life jacket. Her brother, Lana Thorman, believes Natalie likely tried to climb into a cabin at the back of the boat and lost her balance, falling into the water. She believes the waves must have knocked her out and she drowned. Others speculate that perhaps she wanted to get away from the argument and slipped. When asked if he thought Natalie had been murdered, David replied, "I don't know. Maybe somebody pushed her. I hope not, but you just never know." Wagner has always maintained his innocence and claimed he loved his wife. He claimed that the two had been fighting about him being friends with Walken. He admitted, "I can see how this whole thing set her off. And maybe I handled it wrong. I never should have gone to bed. I should have gone out and looked for her." In December of 2011, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department announced that Wagner had been named a person of interest in Natalie Wood's death. A decade after the case was reopened, detectives still haven't decided whether to bring charges against him. In 2018, a documentary about Natalie's death titled "What Happened to Natalie Wood" aired on the Biography Channel. Author and journalist Zoe Charles wrote a book called Natalie Wood, A Life Cut Short. Both the documentary and the book revisit the original investigation and uncover new evidence. According to Charles, the police interviewed several people close to Natalie, including her brother and her personal assistant, but no one could offer any insight into what may have led to her death. There's still no consensus about what exactly happened to Natalie that night, but it is clear that she would not have gotten off the boat willingly. Her friends and family believe that she would never have put herself in a position to accidentally drown. She was a strong swimmer and was known to wear life jackets whenever she was boating. After her passing, her legacy continued on with several actresses citing her as an inspiration. When asked about Natalie, Ryan Gosling once said, "She was beautiful." You know, she was funny, she was witty, she was smart, she was talented. And I really liked her. I really like her work. Thank you guys for tuning in today. That was a look into the unsolved mystery of Natalie Wood. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And make sure to subscribe so you're notified every time we drop a new video. Who do you think was responsible for Natalie's death? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time.